Started the '84 season. What a game to start. You're on the road on the East Coast at Pitt. They're ranked third. Whatever you think of preseason rankings, it doesn't really matter. But they were ranked third. ESPN's first live football game. I think they stacked the chips against you to start your career. I can't think of many harder situations than that.
No, you know, it was hard enough as it was just playing behind Steve and coming in and being the next guy after him. And so it was always I put a lot of pressure on myself because I think you had about 4 or 5 quarterbacks that were All-Americans, that won championships and threw for a lot of yards and did all these great things. So I'm like, how am I going to do it? How am I going to follow in these footsteps? And then we go and play Pitt, our first game, away game. Like you said, ESPN's first nationally televised, the Goodyear blimp. Very exciting, by the way. It sounds very stupid now, but at the time, it was kind of a big deal, you know. So it was, I was very nervous to be the quarterback at BYU. I couldn't sleep the week prior to the game. I couldn't sleep at all. And I actually questioned myself if I can do this. And it was a big game, one of the first games on TV, so I think it was going to be just watched by hundreds of thousands of people. So it was very nerve-wracking.
How much of the overall prize of winning a national championship is split up among several other teams who had won maybe 2 losses in the past that kind of built the credibility nationally to where you guys could go undefeated and be ranked number 1, you think?
McMahon had great teams. Mark Wilson had great teams. And all these teams had 1, 2 losses. And so the build-up of BYU football was huge. So everybody knew about BYU football. They knew we threw for a lot of yards. They knew we had all these stellar quarterbacks and all this thing. And now we were finally put on the map by this national championship. So if it wasn't for the previous teams in LaBelle's era, we wouldn't have never been ranked number 1. It was because of what they did for us and for the future of BYU football is why we are where we are.
The same could maybe be said of Ty Detmer with the Heisman. Did he ever personally thank you for your piece in building that up?
No, he never did. What's up with that? You know, it's interesting because it was a huge buildup. Because going into my senior year, I was touted as the preseason favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And losing to UTEP, which is still a nightmare, and that was kind of the end of any Heisman hopes or things like that. So the talk out there was it's possible for a BYU guy to get the Heisman Trophy. And with what Ty did, you know, it was a hands-down thing that was going to happen, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
What tips the scale more, a national championship or a Heisman Trophy?
The one thing about a national championship is you can celebrate that thing with all your teammates, and you can talk about that all day long. Ty's is an individual award. You know, who are you going to talk to besides your own kids and your grandkids? So I'll take the national championship and have a lot of fun with a lot of people.
Robbie, it's been fun, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, Jarom.